everyone, it is me, Desiree, and we are back with another simplicity video. Now, before I get into that, I just want to say a couple things. There's going to be a Gabby section where I just, keep talking about this, maybe go off onto other things. So just be notice of that, just to give you a fair warning, and be kind if you don't like the Gabby. And you can also see that I'm setting up the channel a little bit differently. So things are slowly working through. You see I have a new intro. The included thank you still there. But really, we just tangle with paper, and you will see why that name is coming out very soon. So the Simplicity series, we're going to do this a little differently. So I'm going to talk in the beginning of it, and then I'm going to switch over to either a voiceover. I'm not quite sure if I'll be doing a voiceover or if I'm just going to play music, and you'll be able to see just how I'm putting those cards together. But in the beginning of the Simplicity videos now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the paper pad, why I chose the paper pad, what I find fascinating about the paper pad, and how I'm looking at this paper pad when it comes to this, the Simplicity video. Why do I call it simplicity? There's been a couple times, or a few times, many, that I get that question. Card making can be made simple. We don't have to get into the alcohol markers and the colored pencils and the watercolors and the watercolor brush markers and the specialty type techniques and the colorful inks. We can let our paper do the work for us. Pattern paper is beautiful. It's wonderful. And yes, it's addicting. Oh, yes. We tend to hoard our pattern paper because it's too beautiful. Let's break through that. Let's bust into our stash. Let's break out that beautiful pattern paper, because guess what? More is going to come out. More is going to be designed. I find when it comes to pattern paper, if there's a certain paper pad that I love, I mean, it just knocks me off my feet and says, I must have that. I'll buy two. I'll hoard the one, but I'm going to break into that other one to see what I can do with it. It happens once in a while. Not all the time, though. But I do love pattern paper because it can do all of the work for us. The only thing that we would need to get, and we don't even have to get that, is a sentiment stamp set. If you wanted to, you could choose. There's a lot of companies. My favorite things, Altenew, Clearly Besotted, Simon Says, they have these great stamp sets with all of the sentiments that you would need, whether it's for a sympathy card, a birthday card, a celebration, an anniversary, whatever it may be, you can have that one set just for your sentiments. Let the paperwork shine through. The pattern paper that I'm going to be working with today is by P13. Yes. This is a company, it's in Poland, or this paper was made in Poland, and it's called Time to Relax. This is what all of the papers look like. So you get a cutout, you get some rectangles, you get a beautiful background, you get some sentiments or some areas to stamp a sentiment, and you have these beautiful backgrounds. This pad is double-sided. Okay, but what I love about this are two things when it comes to this paper pad. You get 4 sheets of the 6 designs. So there's 24 double-sided sheets in this paper pad. So if we look, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to start over again. But the beauty of this is the other side is solid. Well, there's a slight impression in there, which is really cool because it's got this vintagey vibe, and you all know me. I love my vintage. Oh, yes. but it's solid on the back side of some of these papers. Now this one here with the blocks, we do have a design, but on the others, here's a green shade, here's the red, here's like a cream, and here's a gold. Again, and then you get one of these. This is the beautiful cutout that you can just fussy cut around to have embellishments. And you also have that one as well. So their back and front covers are also usable. This is usable too if you don't do the cutouts on that side. This strip is just awesome to have that, because you can shift it on your card. Okay, but again, you're going to lose some of these cutouts, but it can be done. So what's great is technically you can use half of this paper pad and still have the other half left to do what you want with it. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to focus on these two sections here. I'm just going to pull these out, because then I get the best of both worlds. Let's see if I can do this without. There we go. Okay. Now I'm just going to keep that cover with that for right now. Of course, I got some of the glue when it comes to the paper to come off as well. So how do I set up my paper pads when I do this? In this case, I am going to make sure all of the solids are laid out in front of me, because those are great for mats, but I'm just going to keep them there. This I'm automatically going to set aside up there, because I know I'm going to cut that apart. So if I have my solids here, then I'm going to take my floral designs here. And it's exactly what I do. I break up the pad. I look at what's in the pad. Now I have two of these. I'm still going to put it over there, because this, I don't want to cut these up yet until I know how many cards I'm going to make. Using a paper pad is perfect to create a gift set, or for yourself to have a bunch of cards ready for any occasion that you would want them for. This print is beautiful for a wedding, an anniversary, a birthday, a sympathy card. It's good for all occasions, which is great. So these here, I'm going to set these aside. Now this one's special, so I'm going to set this one out as well, because this one here can give us 2 cards, and it's going to be the way that we cut it. And pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to cut, or I'm going to cut close to this cluster here. I'm just going to probably go about 1/4 of an inch and then go straight down, and then look at each of these panels as to how that's going to sit onto a card. I have my mats here that I can use as mats, and then I have my florals here. So this is how I break up a paper pad. This I can hold to either do again or to use in other projects. And that's something that I do look for in a paper pad. How many of each design am I getting? How many sheets am I getting? And how many basically duplicates do I have? I always, when I look at a paper pad, especially a 6x6, to have at least 2 of each of the designs, because then I don't have to sit there and struggle. Well, do I want to cut that side, or do I want to cut that side? Oh, I really like that side. I mean, we talk to ourselves, right? Right. Let's not do that. It's just something that I do look for. In 6x6 paper pads, you will have that ability. Now, when you get into a 12x12 paper pad, you usually don't have that. You usually don't have 2 of each design. You usually only get 1. But remember, it's a 12x12 paper pad. So technically you can get 4 of each sheet if you cut that down 6 by 6. But also remember, when it comes to your cards, if you're going to use a standard A2 size card base, your pattern prints are larger on a 12 by 12 piece of paper. If this here was available in 12 by 12, these prints would be 4 times larger, because it would be 4 of this, but this print would just be enlarged that much more to fit on a 12 by 12. So keep that in mind. Your perspective of size for the pattern paper will change from a 6 by 6 to a 12 by 12 to an 8 by 8. And a lot of times our paper pads come in all 3 sizes. Sometimes they come in 6 by 8, sometimes they come in 4 by 6. So there's all kinds of choices. But usually you have multiple sizes available. So that's something just to keep in mind. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to start cutting these up. So now you won't hear me talking anymore. But I'm going to start cutting these up. So I may talk through it just in the beginning and then switch over to music, or it might just be music. But then I'll come in at the end and we'll talk about how we put our cards together. Here we go. Okay, so I don't know at this point if I played music or if I talked through it. So, but here are our cards. Now, what I like to do when I create something from the Simplicity series that I do, I just like to keep the bases, the card design panel, because then if I want to put it on a larger 5x7 card, I can, and make it a panel inside. If I want to add some mirror cardstock to this, I can. Or if I just want to put this on a standard A2 size card base, I can do that also. So this one here is going to be a landscape card, and I'm doing that because of the printing that's in here. Now we have all of our pieces too, so we can take this one and put that there. I think this one would look really good, and again, we could prop it up or we can just adhere it straight down. I do have some pieces, of course some of them I would not keep, but I do have some scraps, depending upon the size. I will keep these. I use these as washi tape in my journals that I make, so I will keep a scrap like that. But if I have any, solid cardstock left, I can always take this, put this right on there just to create that frame to pull it out. But I leave these as options. Here we have our next panel. So it's this, and it's just enlarged with that great vintage background going through it. And then this, again, I keep, what I like to use for these background panels that I'm putting these on are the Recollections 110-pound cardstock. It's very economical, and I can cut down a pack of 100 into quarters, which will give me 400 card bases to do this with. But I do like to have that white background base. But again, by just doing this and not putting it onto a card base already, I have options. I can put this on any size card base that I would want to do, except a slimline. Unless I just cut this in half, and then I could still put it on a slimline. It would just look a little bit different. Here's that panel, and I'll show both of them together. Here's that panel that we split. So here's this one where we just have the floral down onto the bottom, and we have it framed with a white background. And then this one was just a little bit larger where we could have our sentiment coming off right here if we wanted to create a strip as well. But then we've got this beautiful image just climbing up along the side, and we just have a slight white border on each side of it. Then just taking another strip, I took that one pattern paper and just cut the strip the way that it was separated, cut along that, and then just backed that with some green as well, and kept the rest of it white. Again, we could take this card, have it go this way, make it a landscape, or we can keep it as a portrait, or we can have it go this way as a portrait. So we've got 3 options with that one. This one I love to stripe. I love to add these textures. Again, we can do the same thing because this one's cut like this down into the flowers. Landscape, we can keep it like that and then just have these colors come up, put our sentiment in any one of these. It will also sit like this because of this design that's embedded into the gold and the writing. So whichever way you would want that, again, you've created options. And then finally, I always love to tear paper. It's very satisfying. So just having these rough edges coming across every once in a while. And I did use the other side of the cutouts just to have that come through as well. And again, just created. I kept the base layers because it'll give it some stability and it gives it a stepping dimension. So you're just using your pattern paper, your cardstock, to provide that dimension as you're putting your card together. So just from those 12 sheets, okay, we have created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. Again, these are perfect as a gift or perfect just to keep in your stash. It'll take up less room to store, and then have your card bases somewhere ready to go so that you can just put these on and add your sentiment, whether it's these panels here Or I am one to not even add a sentiment. Just because we're making a card doesn't mean we have to have a sentiment in front. These can be note cards where we put this on our card base, open it up, and we can write our message inside. So don't always feel that you have to have a sentiment on the outside or a die cut or something like that. Note cards are wonderful just to say and give a note to somebody. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the simplicity episode for this one, and stay tuned for more, because more will be coming. All right, so I do hope you enjoyed this. I will see if this paper pad is still available. If it is, I'll link it down below. Again, I'm digging into my stash, so some of these I may have bought a while ago and they may not be available. So dig into yours. This can be done with any paper pad that you have. Any questions you might have, leave those down below and I'll make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. Enjoy this process. Smile through it. Enjoy creating your art. It's all yours and it's unique. So please make sure you enjoy. I'd love for you to subscribe, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you ring the bell so that you'll be notified, hopefully, fingers crossed, of any new videos that I do post. Guys, until the next video, remember what's important though. Always be creative. Talk to you then.